Stealth camping. Today I'm going to show you how I find my stealth camping parks when I come into a new town. And maybe it's not just a new town, but it's somewhere where you've been before, but you've not actually been there in the van. It's not until you actually start looking for places to park that you actually start to find them when you need them. So I'm going to jump on my phone. Basically, the first thing that I do is jump onto my phone and just go over Google Maps. So I'll jump on there and I will record exactly what I'm doing on Google Maps right now. Okay, so here I am on the Gold Coast, and as you can see, I've got a ton of different places that are marked on my maps, and these are places that I've looked at and I wanted to check out. Some of them were actually places that were good, and then there were other places that were not so good. But basically, I just want to find different places that I could go and check out. So one that's pretty close to the beach is this one right here, and I just made myself a little note that says fairly flat car park near the main road. So it sort of just refreshes my memory about what's actually there. But the way I found that was going right in really close, and you can't really see much from this view. You've got to change it to the satellite view, and then you'll see from here there are car parks out the front of apartment buildings. So this is actually a really good one, where instead of parking on the road as like a parallel park, then there's actually little car parks where you can reverse in. And the reason why I like parks like this is because when I reverse in, it gets my head and my body away from where things could potentially go wrong. There's always that very small minimal chance that a car might sideswipe you while you're parked on the side of the road. So that's why I always do my best to get out of the way, essentially. So this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. There's actually quite a lot of these types of things when you're looking around. So rather than me parking in the gutter like this, for example, I can reverse into these car parks right here, and that way it gets the back of my van off the street. It gets my head away from, where something could potentially go wrong. So I just feel safer there at night, and I feel like I have a better sleep. The other places that I'm looking for are like sports areas and places like that. So tennis courts are usually pretty good, and also football fields tend to be pretty good as well. And there's some places up this way that I actually marked out as well, and I occasionally stay at. So I'm sort of giving you all of my secret spots here on the Gold Coast, but I'm not actually here much longer, so you can actually use them. But yeah, here's another one: flat car park but open. This is basically next to a football field or a cricket field, a cricket pitch, and I've slept there a number of times. Now, the other places I've been looking for lately are places like this, where it's like a bit of a stormwater drain or just like a small creek, and they've got these bits of space between the road and the actual drain or the creek where you can park. Now, sometimes it works, like this one. This one is fine. I've actually parked here before. And other times it doesn't, because the hill is too steep and you either can't park there at all, or it's just too steep and it wouldn't be comfortable. But some of these can work as well, and they're easy to find on Google Maps. So today's Friday, and it's the first time that I'm stealth camping all week. In this video, I pointed out the top 3 reasons why I'm paying for more parking this year. You can check that out afterwards as well to give you a bit of a different perspective around what I have to say about stealth camping. But for the most part, I am actually staying out there on the road. So the other place that I sometimes go, it really depends on where I am and how far away they are, but it's more industrial or commercial areas. So these are ones where I get there fairly late, like probably after 9 p.m. And I guess the benefit, or maybe the challenge with these types of places, is you're forced to wake up at 5 a.m. when all of the workers are getting to that area. So I sort of make sure that I'm awake super early if I do park in them, and get out of there pretty early in the morning. But a benefit with a lot of these particular places, let me just spin the camera around and show you. See the gutter on these a lot of industrial estates is that it's a gutter where you can pop up your wheels, and that will also level out the side. So I'll sometimes do that as well to help level up the van, and I'm looking for places that obviously don't have any workers at nighttime, but also places that are one-way streets or cul-de-sacs, or somewhere where there's not a lot of traffic running through. Okay, so I'm back. These are the things that I'm looking for, because first of all, it makes completely no sense to be parking at the beach when there are a lot of signs around that say if you park here you will be fined and no camping and all of those types of things. So why do it? You know, the people who will do it are just have essentially ruined it for everybody else because they do the wrong things. Secondly, if you are staying in the same spot and you do it and the ranger figures out who you are and your number plate and all of that type of stuff, no matter what you do, you're always going to be chased down. So if you just stay out of trouble from the first time, you'll never have a problem. I've been in this van 12 months now. I've never had a problem. I've been parking 99% of the time, stealth camping out on the street, finding places like these. I've parked 3 kilometers from Sydney CBD using the same sort of strategy. I'm looking for places that are basically out of the way from people's houses and things like that, and fairly quiet, and somewhere where people just wouldn't think to look, and mainly away from water, you know, away from the beaches, away from the rivers, away from places where there's public toilets, where people know that vans are going to frequent, and then you'll never have any issue. Let me actually just go into another bit on here in Sydney, where I'll show you one time that I actually did park on the side of the road, but I'll show you the reason why. Okay, so you can see here we've got a overarching shot of Moore Park in Sydney. I no longer live in Sydney, but I can tell you right now, if you do want to live the van life in Sydney, this is the perfect spot. Reason why, you can see a tab there that says free parking. Right around the outskirts of Centennial Park, there is free parking all along that road, all along Lang Road. And then you just jump on the bus 10 minutes into the middle of the city and you're there. But if we come down to this bottom part down here, there's a little neighborhood, I guess you could say, right next to Moore Park, where it's just one way in and one way out. So that means there's very little traffic that flows through there at night. And over here near the field at Moore Park, there was actually quite a lot of bumps and stuff like that to help level up the van at night. Because what you might have realized by now, when you're parking in the gutter, then a lot of the roads tend to slope towards the gutter, which means your van isn't level overnight, which can sometimes mean a bit of an uncomfortable sleep. What I thought about here was there's actually these really big trees next to the road that the roots are actually pushing up the side of the gutter a little bit, which means if you can park on top of a root, it levels up the van, which works so well for me, and I'm sure there's not many people that think of that type of thing. So I used to park along that road. It's really the only time that I've not parked somewhere off the road. But for the fact that it was quite a wide road, and because I could level up the van when I was parked in the actual gutter itself, and I'd always try and park in front of another car, so that there would be at least one car behind me as like a bit of a barrier if something was to go wrong. That worked pretty well. There's very few cars went by at night. You know, there was no issues whatsoever. I guess some people sometimes get a little bit cautious about parking around parks, but that neighborhood is actually, I guess, quite wealthy, so it tends to not attract any riffraff or anything like that. So that was another thing that I did. And then the other things that I'm doing as I'm going into a stealth camping park at night is just making sure that, firstly, before I roll in, I've got all the doors locked, so that when I hit the button to lock the van, that I don't wake up anyone up by the blinkers flashing on and off which is the signal to say that it's locked. I'm also making sure that I've gone to the toilet, although if I do need to go to the toilet, I'm fortunate enough to have one in the van, I use that. And just making sure I've brushed my teeth and things like that when I get in the van. And then as soon as I have found somewhere to park, I jump straight over the back through the middle and keep fairly quiet. Sometimes I'll watch some Netflix, sometimes I'll get a little bit of work done on my laptop. If I want to listen to music, I'll put headphones in and those types of things. You don't want to be going into a park where you're going to sleep the night and then start cooking and start banging pots and pans around and just making a ton of noise, or like blaring your music up. It's just a silly way to go about it, and it costs nothing to be kind to others, right? And these people are paying to live there in these places. And if you fly under the radar, it doesn't matter if you can continue to park there, because they know after the first couple of nights, if they have figured it out, most people won't figure it out, but if they have figured out that there's someone sleeping in that van and you're quiet, then they're not going to care at all. So these are my tips to finding a really great stealth camping park in your van, whether you're in the city or anywhere as you go into a brand new city. It's just about thinking about it a little bit and planning first, and not doing the wrong thing. So I hope you enjoy these tips. Leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Has any of this helped you? If it has, give me a like, give me a follow. Make sure you turn that bell on so you know when there's new videos. I put out 2 videos a week about van life and living the digital nomadic life. I run a digital business from my van as well. So I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below, or at mitch.asser on Instagram. Send me a DM. I'll get back to everybody, and I'll make sure I definitely do as well. So if you have any questions on that, let me know. If you want me to expand on this a little bit more, let me know, and I'll speak to you in the next video. Bye-bye.